Howdy y'all. In a previous video, I told y'all the retelling of a story that my papaw told me whenever I was just a kid, about the history of the East Tennessee and Western North Carolina Railroad. Now that's a long name for a short road, and paint's expensive, so they just painted the letters ET and WNC on the sides of the locomotives and train cars. Now mountain people are nothing if not humorous, so folks would come up with fun and quirky little nicknames to give the train, and they would play with the letters painted on the sides of the cars. Some folks would joke that the letters stood for every time and with no complaint, and the railroad really was a part of the local community, and it came through and got the job done every time, presumably with no complaint. Another popular nickname was given to it by local kids. They would joke and say that the letters ET and WNC stood for Eat Taters and Wear No Clothes Railroad. And others would say that the letters stood for Early Trains and What Nice Conductors. Which, as a conductor myself on the modern day ET and WNC, this one is my personal favorite. But the railroad really did have a very kind, dutiful, and charitable staff, and there was one man in particular who made the ET and WNC a railroad with a heart, but he deserves a video all his own. Now another name given to the railroad was the name Tweetsie, because of the sound of the high-pitched train whistles singing through the mountains like a bird. In the 1950s, a corporation in Blowing Rock would adopt the name Tweetsie and use it as the name of their brand new theme park that they had opened on Highway 321. Another name affiliated with the railroad was the Limeville River Railway. By 1920, the ET and WNC had acquired the smaller Limeville River Railroad and had made it into its own subsidiary company that eventually expanded all the way into Boone. However, the Limeville River Railway would end all operations after the flood of 1940. The railroad would remain the ET and WNC past the end of narrow gauge operations in 1950 and well into its time as a standard gauge short line running between Johnson City, Tennessee and Elizabethton. The name was also used for their motor freight and bus company, which would expand to be bigger than the ET and WNC Railroad ever was. But as is life, all good things must come to an end. By the 1980s, the ET and WNC had become East Tennessee Railway and is today owned by Genesee and Wyoming. However, as has happened many times in the history of this line, the ET and WNC Railroad was not dead, just sleeping. In the 1990s, whenever restoration efforts began at Doe River Gorge, it was decided that the only name appropriate would be to give the railroad its original name, the East Tennessee and Western North Carolina Railroad. And today, all the cars and equipment on the ET and WNC proudly display their name as a testament to the history of all those who came before us. To me, the ET and WNC Railroad stands as a symbol of hope, that no matter how many mistakes are made, setbacks along the way, or how dire the circumstances may be, all things can be made new again. What does it mean to you? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments, and I'll see y'all next time.